Hey people on YouTube land, Zach Hall back here. Want to do an update and a review of my favorite Bibles that I was using over 2020 and just go through and see if you're interested in any of them. I'll tell you where I got them from and how much they were so that you can make a decision on that. But these are the ones over 2020 that I used the most and that I enjoyed the most or came back to. So the first one I'm going to show you is a large print from Bearing Precious Seed. The reason I show this one is that it's got a large readable font. That's very crisp, it's very easy on the eyes, it's 14 point, yet it's still in a very manageable size. It's only 10 by 7, so it's a large size, but it's also only 1.25 inches thick, so it's pretty thin for a large print. You can see the spine here is not that thick at all. It comes in a genuine cover, which is a pigskin, but it lays super flat. You can see it lays pretty much perfectly flat, no matter where the Bible is. Comes with one ribbon marker. Again, I'll let you see that font. Very nice, updated font, easy to read. This is only $35, so that's why I wanted to mention this one first. So for a genuine leather, large print Bible is really easy to carry and hold and to read from, this is only $35 from their website, so this is very affordable, and I don't think you'll regret it. It has a nice vinyl paste down liner as well, so it's definitely going to hold up for a while. And it would be a good rebind candidate in the future as well. So really come back to this one. I've been using this one probably later 2020. Just been enjoying doing devotions out of a larger print in the morning, not having to struggle to see smaller print. So this one's been really nice to do devotions out of. But in the same category of large print, this has been a standard for me. This is the Cambridge or the Trinitarian Bible Society's large print. This is the TPS version, Trinitarian Bible Society. This comes in a calf split leather, so it's very nice. It's got a pronounced grain on it that's stamped into the leather. Is a vinyl paste off. This one is 10.5 to 11 point font. So whereas the Bearing Precious Seed was 14, just give you a comparison real quick. You can see the difference there. And then the Trinitarian Bible Society or the Cambridge large print is an older school font. So it's the Petite Medieval Clarendon font, and it's 10.5 point with 11.5 point leading. So you can see it's self-pronouncing. It's a lot bolder, but this Bible is also a lot, or at least it's smaller in the footprint. It's not as thin as the Bearing Precious Seed. So you can see the Bearing Precious Seed large print is thinner, but it also has a larger footprint. So these two have been my favorite large prints that I've used throughout 2020, hands down. I don't think you can go wrong with that. So again, the first one is Bearing Precious Seed. If you're interested in that one, it's $35. The one from TBS you can find on Evangelical Bible for about $85. Now moving into hand-sized. There's really two this year that I used the most as far as hand size. That would be the Trinitarian Bible Society's Windsor text. This is in the vinyl, the blue vinyl. You can get this in calfskin with the golded edges and the metrical psalms with or without it. But this one is just a good size. It's about 7.5 by 5.5, somewhere in that ballpark. So it's very easy to carry in the hands. Good Bible to just bring to church, or if you just don't like a large Bible, this is very readable. It has a 9.6 font is what they call it. To me, it's closer to an 8. It reads more like an 8, but it's very clear, very crisp, more modern font, a newer layout from Trinitarian Bible Society. So you can see that. It is line matched. This vinyl one only costs $12 from their website. Their calfskin ones on Evangelical are around $50. So again, you can have a calfskin Bible for $50. That's really good and affordable. In the back, it has tons of helps. Has a 2-year Bible reading plan, has a glossary for words that are older in the King James. It gives a modern update of those. And then it has a self-pronunciation guide in the back as well. Has some beautiful maps in the back. It has about 5 or 6 of those. But this one was really good to use. I just really enjoy the paper in this one, the font, the line matching. It's really a good Bible, and for $12 you really can't go wrong. This is really well made for $12. So that was one of my favorite hand-sized ones. The other one is in the same camp as the Cambridge Emerald Text. So this is pretty much just standard from Cambridge. This is their lower level Bibles, but still way high quality for a more economical price. So on evangelicalbible.com, this Bible goes for about $55 for the red letter and $58 for the black letter. So this is the black letter text. It's a vinyl paste-off liner, but you can see I've had this Bible for about a year now, I think. So let's see, we got August 26th, 2019, so over a year. So, and it's held up very well. I've used this actually quite a bit this past year. You see this is a bold 9-point font. So I'll try to show you the difference between this and the Windsor. So you see the Windsor has more modern font, however it is smaller. It's slightly more crisp. I would think it's probably easier on the eye, but it's not as big as the Cambridge Emerald Text. So the Emerald Text is a 9-point. This is a 9-point font, and this is supposed to be a 9.6. So you can see the Cambridge is actually bigger at a 9 than the TBS is at a 9.6, and that's because of the type of font. So this is a bolded, older font, so those fonts were a lot bigger than they actually look. But this one's just a classic. I really do love this Bible. I've preached out of this one a lot. Did my devotions. I take this one to work a lot of times because it's easier to carry. And again, this one goes for anywhere from $55 to $58 on Evangelical. That would be the cheapest you can probably get it. And I would say it's worth every penny. In the back of this one, you'll have kind of the same thing the Trinitarian Bible Society has. You'll have a short glossary of words in the King James that are probably obsolete or we don't use or they've changed meaning. And then you have a Bible reading plan. So the difference is that with this one, the self-pronunciation is actually in the text, so they don't have that in the back. But it comes in a French Morocco, which this is actually becoming probably one of my favorite leathers of Bible is this French Morocco from Cambridge. It just breaks in so well. It's so soft and pliable, and it feels good. It has a really good yap for a Bible this size. Let's see if you can see that, but really does have a good overhang there on both sides. Comes with one ribbon marker. This one's printed by Print Corps in Belarus. I think they did a pretty good job on it. The gold gilding looks good. And again, it's just an awesome Bible to hold and read from. So those are my two favorite hand size from 2020. Now getting the wide margin, I'm a wide margin guy, fan. I love writing in my Bible. That's kind of the battle I have between whether I want to use a wide margin Bible as my main Bible or a hand text. This is easier to carry, but at the same time you don't have any note-taking space. These are typically larger, but then you have tons of space to write in. So it's, do you want to carry a smaller Bible with a notebook, or do you want to carry a wide margin? But these are the wide margin ones that I used over 2020. This one here is the KJV Store Note Takers. Church Bible Publishers is the one that does a text block. This is lambskin, so it's very nice. It's broken in very well. It's probably one of the softest and flexible covers that I do have. But the Note Takers is of course famous for its note-taking space. So on the left hand of the page you have about 3.5 inches of text, and then you have 2.5 inches of note-taking space on the same page. What's awesome about this layout too is that it's single column verse by verse. So instead of having 2 columns per page, you have 1, which means you can take more notes on less scripture. So it really kind of doubles your note-taking space from a traditional layout. And this one here is red letter. So you can see there. The red letter is really nice in this. There are sometimes some inconsistencies in the fact that they actually accidentally put red letter where Jesus is not speaking. So, but that's kind of a minor issue. It doesn't really bother me. But this takes notes very well. I actually have a couple sections here in Acts where I took some notes, so I'll show you that. So you can see that's like a whole sentence and a half, and it looks like nothing on this page because it's just so much room to take notes. You can see the ghosting there. Really no bleed through. You can see on the other page that does not go through. So it is very nice paper. Of course, I always use Pigma Microns. They're the They're the best Bible pens you can have. And then the back of this one, there's really nothing. Church Bible Publishers re-released this with a concordance in the back, so if you do get it from them, it probably will be a little bit thicker than this edition. But the back of this one was just a couple pages for notes, and then you had your map section. So this is a really solid Bible. This one, I believe, is $109 from the KJV store, from their website. Church Bible Publishers would probably have this for around $75 or $80. So that's a good option too if you're a note taker. This is a really solid choice. Next up is the R.L. Allen Brevier Clarendon King James Wide Margin. This is in black goatskin, but it's a silver line, so it has silver stamping instead of gold, and then it has the silver page edges with the blue art gilt underneath. There's just nothing that really compares to this as far as premium world. I mean, Allen is probably the best as far as construction and materials, but where they're going to get you is the price. So I got this one as a gift, so I'll be upfront about that. But on evangelicalbible.com's website, this is about $275 now. So that's kind of a hard sell. I'm not going to lie. $275 is a lot for anything. I do think if you were interested in only having one Bible and you were looking for a wide margin Bible, that would be justifiable, because if that's the only one you're going to use, then I would say go for it. It will last you for a lifetime. But again, it is about $275. So some of these Bibles I showed you, you could buy a couple of those compared to the cost of this. But having said that, this is truly an amazing Bible. This Bible has the best paper of any Bible that I own as far as the thickness. I mean, there's barely anything that can bleed through this paper. So you see the spine's pretty basic. This does have a semi-yap, so it doesn't come all the way down, but it does protect those page edges very well. Comes with 3 silver ribbons. And of course, it's a goatskin on the outside. They've got a calf split liner on the inside. Got the silver gilt line. Nice navy end sheets. Does have presentation pages in the front. And then you get into the Bible itself. And so the Allen has a beautiful margin all the way around the text. Really love the blue in this. It's a good contrast to the red that you typically see for art gilding. I really do like the blue. Now, I did take a ton of notes of this earlier in the year in Galatians, so I'll show you how that held up. So you can see here in Galatians, I took quite a bit amount of notes. I was going through this book trying to memorize it and was doing some preaching from Galatians. So you can see the ghosting there is like next to nothing, and that's even on white space. So you can see there, it definitely doesn't bleed through, and it doesn't even bother you when you're reading on the opposite side. This paper is unbelievable. It's almost 50 GSM. I believe it's 45. I think some people have told me 45. I know that's on Evangelical. I think they have 45 GSM. But this is super thick paper. So this is the thickest paper that I know of for a King James Bible on the market. It's just absolutely amazing. And you can see I've taken tons of notes in the columns. I've underlined some verses. And you can just see it just does so well with writing. So this truly is a wide margin person's dream. So if you really are in the market for just one Bible, you know you want it to be a wide margin, that's the only thing you want, I would highly recommend this. Just know you are going to spend a bit up front, but this thing, if it lasts you 50 years, I mean, that breaks down to next to nothing per year that you have this Bible. So it'll be an upfront cost, but throughout the years you won't be buying another one. So again, this has tons of note space in the back too, so you have about 26 blank pages of notes, and that's 13 whole sheets, but then it's double-sided, so about 26 pages for blank note taking. And then you have your maps, and then after your maps you have lined notebook paper. So truly, this is made for a note taker, for a person who's thinking, a person who wants to put deep insights in this, or just write all the devotional notes, write what's going on in life. This is definitely a good Bible to have. And there you have the Allen binding by Royal Youngblood. So that was this one's been a favorite of mine too, just writing in it. And I took this one to work a lot of times, and it still did really well. So this actually, for a wide margin, is not hard to carry. So if you're thinking about that too, it's also good for that. Then CBP came out with this, and this was like probably the Bible I was most excited for in 2020, and I'm still really excited about. This was their Interleaved Bible. This one was given to me as a review copy, so it was the red calfskin. This red has grown on me. When I first got it, I was like, whoa, that is really bright. I don't know if I like. I'm really traditional with my covers. I typically only like black, but this has grown on me, and it looks really good. The calfskin has a nice grain to it. It's very thick, feels very good to the touch. But of course, the key thing about this is the inside. So you have a beautiful, bold 8-point font that's consistently dark throughout. And on the other side, you have lined notebook paper on every single page. So when I flip it, you can see there's a lined page with every page of scripture. So this optimizes your note-taking ability. I mean, there's no Bible that has as much note-taking space for King James on the market. So if you're looking for the most note space, look no further than this Bible. If you can put up with an 8-point font, this is actually, even though it's small, it really isn't hard to read. This is probably easier to read than the Windsor from TBS. Let me pull that up here. So I think they're very comparable, at least. So you can see that the TBS is probably better spaced as far as lines between the sentences, and the columns are probably just a tad shorter. I think the columns here in this book are a little bit wider, so that does kind of affect reading experience. But this is darker than the TBS, so again, that's, you can look at that and make a decision for yourself there. But I've taken a lot of notes in this one as well. I'll show you where I wrote on a whole page. You could do something like where you take a ruler and divide this line in half and then write really small. You could probably cram tons of notes in this. But I wrote relatively big on this page here on Matthew 24, so I could actually read it, and I still got a lot on there. And that doesn't even include the fact that this has a margin on this page, and then you have a margin on this page over here as well. So you have tons of note-taking space for this. Now you do have 2 columns though, so you're taking twice as many notes when compared to the note takers. But this is a very, very awesome layout. I was very excited for this. I was looking for a good interleave. There's only one other one from Anchor Bible Publishers that has it interleaved, and it has blank. It doesn't have like the lined paper in between it. But I think it's smaller than this, so you actually have more writing space in the Church Bible Publishers. Here's another place I took notes at. It's Romans 8 and 9, and then 10 and 11. And you can see the ghosting there. So it ghosts a little bit, doesn't bleed through. Still is really nice paper. So you can see there. Took a bunch of notes, wrote cross references. You can see it doesn't even appear on the other side really. So very readable, very consistent. So much room to take notes, and a beautiful binding. These go for in the calfskin edition for like $75 on Church Bible Publishers. So again, very affordable, wide margin Bible if that's what you're looking for. And this, again, if you're a preacher and you love writing, and you want to have your sermon outline next to your text, this is literally a perfect option. Or if you're just someone who maybe you like to write commentary on the scripture, or you really like to get in depth, this would be a perfect Bible for you. You can really write a line down here. Pastor Dane Johansson, he has a good video on this where he wrote a line down the middle of this, and then he writes really small on both sides to do it for both columns of text, and it looks really good. You could get a lot on here. So if you are a note taker, this is definitely one to put on your radar. At the back of this one, you do have quite a bit of lined note paper in the back. Not as much as the Allen, but definitely enough to write a fair amount of material. Then you'll have a map index and some maps. And then of course you'll have your back liner, the imitation leather liner, and then the calf skin on the back. Comes with 2 red ribbon markers, Nice gold gilding, of course. And this one's about the same size of the note takers. So I'll actually get that one back out here and show you. So you can see there's the note takers on top, the interleaved on the bottom, and they're about the same size. So if you're thinking between these two, that just kind of gives you an idea. So really all you have to decide with the note takers and the interleaved is the size of the print. So again, this is a 8-point, but this honestly reads more like a 9 with how bold it is and the spacing, or an 11-point from the note takers. And then you have to decide between whether you want double column text or you want a single column. So these are my favorite wide margins, though, definitely from this year. So I do want to know, though, in the comments from you guys what your favorite Bibles of 2020 were, whether they were new releases or whether they were just old ones you came back to and you used them the rest of the year. Please let me know. These are my favorite. I try to break them up in categories from hand size to large prints to wide margins to kind of give you a wide selection of things. If you're interested in any of these and you have any comments about where to get one, feel free to reach out to me there in the comment section and I can tell you more information about any of these. But I hope this video was a blessing to you. I love you guys. We'll hopefully have a lot more content coming out here soon in 2021, and look forward to just sharing more about the Word and more about Christ with you this year. So hope you have a good day and have a good Sunday tomorrow. Take care and God bless.